All right, we are back live again. And as you can see, Hillary's joined us today after traveling this weekend. And
Yeah.
we wanted to go over, I guess you could give us a quick synopsis of what you were doing this weekend.
Very quickly, I was in New York shopping for my wedding dress. So that was very fun. The only bummer was the traveling, and I think that must just be traveling nowadays. But I think, especially at our airport, it seems like flights are getting canceled left and right. So I was just happy. I had to leave a day early because my flight got canceled. And then coming back last night, I almost missed my connection and I made it back at like 1 a.m. So I was not here to do the live. So we rescheduled it. But other than that, it was a total success.
So hopefully people caught all our messages and tips to get on today. But yeah, we
Yes.
normally do them Sunday if you're new to this. But anyway, we were going to talk about, as most of you probably have seen on the news recently, you wouldn't know it by today. It's a beautiful, sunny, not a cloud in the sky day, which is, we're in that time of year, which is kind of normal. But all through June, it rained pretty much every day. And as you saw in the news, some parts of Montana, we are quite a ways from where the worst of it was. And I'll put up a map here. Let me do a different background so it shows up better. So if you look at this map, I don't know how big it is on your screens, but right up here is Gardner, Montana. And that used to be what's that?
We can't see your little clicker. So you just kind of have to explain where you're pointing
Oh, you
with
can't. Okay, I'm sorry. I can see it on mine, obviously. Um, it'd be on the top left of the map. There is Gardner, Montana, and the river coming through there just totally wiped out that road between Gardner and the park and flooded Gardner pretty bad. And so that's going to be closed for years. It just, uh, again, if you saw it on the news, it wiped out huge stretches of road. It kind of goes through a canyon there down into Yellowstone. And so it's going to take years to rebuild that. And I even read that they might put it in a whole different spot to get into the park now because of what happened. And then if you look over to the upper right of the map, you'll see the town of Red Lodge, and that was also a big entrance from, if you come from Billings, if you're coming from the east, that's not on the map, but it's just above there. That's kind of the main entrance to the park from that way. And that road got destroyed, and Red Lodge was a lot of damage, a lot of lost homes there as well. So yeah, it did a number. And it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna stop entrance into the park from the north for quite a while. You can still get in through West Glacier. On the far left, lower left is West Glacier, and that's now the main entrance. And I know there's some entrances from the south as well. And because there's no way to get out to the north again, it's kind of creating more traffic. So now, I talked about we're doing reservations to get into Glacier. Well, what they're doing in Yellowstone instead of reservations is they're doing the last number on your license plate. If it's odd, then you can only go in on odd days, and if it's even, you can only go in on even days. And there's other rules for if you have a personalized one and all that, but I don't remember exactly how that works. But if you're planning on going to Yellowstone, just know that you can't go in every day.
Yeah, I saw so many comments from people who had been planning like family vacations to go to Yellowstone and had been looking forward to it for like years. And then they showed up and just hadn't been watching the news or paying attention. And it was like, sorry, can't get in.
Yeah. And then, well, I think we're going to get, so people were reaching out, and we appreciate that. And we thank you for your concern about this flooding, but we were 7 hours from there,
Mm-hmm.
probably. So that we were a long way from that. We had some minor flooding here. The people that lived right along the rivers, the water came up. It didn't wash anything away like it did there. It just got real high and came over the banks a little bit. And it was only the people right along the river and in the real low areas near the river. But we had nowhere near the damage that they had down near Yellowstone.
Yeah.
One of the other things that I just saw today, that down, I'm going to put this picture up now. This is the Kerr Dam, and this is south of Polson, or south of Flathead Lake, just outside of Polson, Montana. And that on the top side, that's Flathead River that comes out of Flathead Lake. But because Flathead Lake is so high right now, they had to open up every gate in that dam. So it's letting as much water through as it can right now just to keep up. Because, like I said, we didn't get huge flooding up here, but we definitely have a lot of water. So somebody posted this on Facebook this morning, and I thought it was a good picture. So I thought we would share it with you guys. Let's see. Do you have anything to add, Miss Hillary?
I don't. It's been crazy to follow along. And it's been really devastating for the areas over there closer to Yellowstone. And I can't imagine it, because it felt really bad here, even though we didn't get the terrible flooding. But I mean, the water was also high. And the rain was just relentless. So it's just been a crazy spring.
Oh, I'm looking at some of our comments now. I'm sorry, I did say West Glacier because we live near West Glacier, and I meant to say West Yellowstone. So Hillary missed out on an opportunity to jump on my mispronunciation. So
very often. This is kind of a good question, but Rocky Mountain guy asked, has this increased traffic in your area in Glacier?
I was about to say that. I haven't noticed it yet, but I'm sure that will be the fallout of all of this. And that's why I did the video a few weeks ago about Glacier, because getting in, you can't now with the reservation system. People just think you can show up and get in, and you can't. You can't get in until after 4 o'clock if you don't have a ticket. So that there's going to be, well, there has been the last couple of years ever since they started doing it. People that didn't do their research or pay attention, they showed up, because they used to be that you could just show up and pay your fee at the gate and go in any day you wanted. But ever since Rona hit, they changed all that. So
yeah, I feel like every time we go in, there are always people ahead of us who have to turn around and drive out. And I always feel bad.
So Ken asked, did Polson get hit with flooding? No. Again, the lower areas along the creeks and nearby the river got a little bit of, wet areas in the low spots, but nothing bad. I just wanted to show this dam picture and the amount of water they're releasing through it right now, just, to get rid of the high water. There was another picture on Facebook the other day, or it was on Twitter, I guess. Somebody posted of Woods Bay. Have you ever been to, it's tied in with, what's that subdivision in Big Fork there? Connected to the lodge and all of that, but there's a little bar restaurant kind of thing right in, like off of the highway down in Woods Bay. And it's right on the water, and there was a picture that dock was underwater the other day. So.
I think like right by where the Raven is and the sitting duck and all that.
Well, no, it's not. It's down in the, I hate to say town, but you go down off the highway and kind of go down in there, and that's where that little bar restaurant is. It's a cool spot. They had a party there. It must have been before your time for Shirley one year. sure everybody on.
Oh, I went to that party. Yeah, I was there.
Oh, okay. Well, then you've been there.
I guess
Sure
I just
everybody's
wasn't
loving us talk about
memorable.
people that. So yeah, so there's a lot of water.
There's a lot of water. Steve wants you to clarify if the West Yellowstone entrance is open now.
Yes. Yep. West Yellowstone is open. Always has been. I guess they closed the whole park for a couple days, so it wasn't open then. But yeah, that's the main, probably the biggest gate now to get in into Yellowstone. So yes, that is open. But like I said earlier, you have to have. They're going off of license plate numbers, even and odd days to get in. So if you're headed there, make sure you check up on all of that and don't be disappointed if you don't get in. What else do we have? Sarah says, hi, Will and Hillary. Hello.
Hi, Sarah.
Is the town of West Yellowstone okay? As far as I know, I don't think they had any trouble there at all. Just a lot of rain, kind of like the rest of us. Oh, Sarah's on Lake Blaine, so they're right. Sarah saw the rain as well.
It did feel, she said it felt like the rain would never stop, and it really did.
Oh, I'm not down that far. If you want to start throwing some other things up.
They opened the southern loop at Yellowstone and below numbers there, and they're opening the northern loop in 2 weeks approximately.
Yeah, I think, because if you look at the map, I'll put this back up. I don't know. Again, I'm not sure what kind of picture you guys are getting up here, but the actual part of the road that got destroyed was just outside of the park. So you can, once you get into the park from West Yellowstone, you can go north on that road, but you just can't continue on to Gardner and up into the Paradise Valley like you used to be able to. But as far as I know, and I have not been down there since this happened, it's kind of between the park and the town of Gardner is what got destroyed the worst. There may be a little portion of the park in there, but so now Gardner is kind of it's a dead end. There's no, it's a long drive to get there, and then you can't go any further. So they're really hurting. We probably should have put the link up. Hillary put it up in one of our Instagram posts, but there's for donations they're taking for that town and the people who lost their houses there. So if you're looking for a good cause, there's nothing better than that.
The Red Cross of Montana, if you just Google it, it'll take you to the site, but they're keeping everybody updated on what they need. So that's kind of the best place to follow along with how things are going and what's needed and all of that.
All right. Well, I think that covers most of the flooding situation. You guys want to start asking your Montana questions or any questions at all? Hillary would love to delve into her childhood or whatever you want to talk about.
All right. Here's one that is not about my childhood. What is the point of an OPD, which is an owner's property disclosure, if all of the answers are just left blank or they say NA?
Well, here's the problem with the OPD. I mean, it's a good document. The problem is that the state does not require it to be used. So sellers they have no obligation. They're not required to fill that out. So I agree with you. There's no point in that. But because, a lot of realtors, the newer ones, don't realize that it's not, they don't realize the importance of it, and they don't tell their clients the importance of filling it out. Even if you're a seller, we always tell people fill out everything, because if something comes up later down the road, and you've disclosed every little thing, that will show that you were being upfront. Yeah, it will show that you're being upfront and you weren't trying to hide anything. Whereas if you give a blank one and you just sign a blank one, um, and then something happens down the road, they're going to say, well, they were obviously hiding it, or they knew about it and didn't want to say, or whatever. So that's the advice we give everybody. But yes, I agree, Lola, that there is no point, but unfortunately the state doesn't require it. So
Did your weather scare all the city folk back to where they came from yet and waiting to jump on cheap prices?
well, no, it hasn't scared too many people out yet. You'll be seeing cheaper prices now with the interest rates. If you watch the video that I'm putting out tomorrow, I talk about the market and what's going on. But yeah, it seems as though things are slowing down here all of a sudden. And with the higher interest rates, that's definitely the problem, the cause, whatever you want to call it. Not so much the weather at this point.
Yeah, kind of going along with that, Lola said, do you think real estate will pick up or slow down within the next few months? And you kind of just answered that.
Yep. I think it's going to, until the interest rates level off and start going back down, which may be another year, who knows? I think the way the market is going right now is going to continue.
The problem that we're seeing now is that sellers are still holding on to those insane prices. And so you still do see the really high prices coming on the market, but you'll notice that they're not selling in 24 hours. So they're starting to sit. I think it's just going to take a little bit for sellers to realize that they kind of missed the craziness.
Yeah, Hillary's exactly right. People are like, well, my neighbor got, $800,000 for his little house last year, and I stop him and say, the key word was last year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, watch my video tomorrow, and you'll get a better idea of what's going on around here.
How are the prices on big mountain condos? Eagle.
Morning Eagle. She's probably talking about Morning Eagle.
Yeah.
Like Hillary just said, people are still, the prices, even though things have slowed down and we're starting to see some price reductions, they're not, it's going to take a while to get back to realistic. People aren't going to all come down at the same time. It's going to take stuff sitting on the market and people realizing, hey, I'm not going to get, double what I thought. So they're still pretty high right now up there, but it's coming down, and the longer stuff is on the market, the more it'll come down. So you just got to keep an eye on it. We can put up, let me put up this other banner. If you guys want, get a hold of us or to get a copy of our MLS link, I just put that up at the bottom. Just email us there and we'll send it to you, and then you can see what everything is going for. And the good news about our MLS, and I say this every week that we do this, is that it's updated in real time. So the minute somebody lowers their price, you will know about it.
Which is not the case with Zillow and Realtor.com and all those things. There's always a lag, a substantial lag.
Yeah.
Mark is moving up this Friday. That's awesome. If there's one 4th of July thing to do this weekend, what would it be? I don't know about this weekend, but there's a ton to do on the actual 4th. The parade in Big Fork, I would say, is like the biggest celebration in the valley. I mean, would you agree? It's definitely a big deal. It's super fun down there. I think it starts at noon. But that is kind of the spot to be during the day. It's crazy. There's a ton of people. It's very fun. If you are going to be in Whitefish does a fireworks show over the lake, which is also very fun. It gets very busy, but it's cool to see. There are tons of people out there like on their boats watching. And then there's kind of something everywhere. There's a parade in Kalispell. There are fireworks in Lakeside that they launch off of, like over the lake. So yeah, there's a ton. But I would say like the big thing is just being in Big Fork.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't know if you even knew this, Hillary, but this was before your time. I think it was 2 years ago, I did a live stream of the fireworks because I live near City Beach, and so I can walk a half a block down the road and see the fireworks from City Beach over the lake. And so I live streamed that a few years ago.
Oh, that's cool.
Thinking about doing that again, but we have friends in town, so I don't know if we'll do that or not.
I really want to. I want to do this every year, and I don't know why we haven't done it. I think it's rained a couple years, and I don't know, but I want to take our kayaks out, which we do this fairly often, and just put them in the river and then kayak up to the lake. But I want to be watching the fireworks in my kayak.
I would warn you that I don't know if I'd want to be in a kayak when it's dark and all those people that have been having beers all day are flying around when the fireworks are over.
This is a good point.
So it sounds like a good plan, but you just keep your head on a swivel if you're out there with no lights on your kayak.
All right. Well, thank you for that tip. We've noticed a lull in listings in the Missoula Bitterroot area these past couple of weeks. Is this because Montanans are starting to travel now that the weather has warmed up? I would say this is normal. We have started to see that also. I think that is common for the month of June. I don't know if it's because people are busy with their kids getting out of school or what it is, but I think frankly, the weather this last month probably played a role in it too. But I think that we'll start to see more come back starting in July. But I don't think that's like out of the norm for June necessarily.
I would agree.
Glacier National Park posted that going to the Sun Road probably won't be open all the way before the 4th of July because of more snow up there. That also, I think, it's different every year, but that seems about right. I can't remember the exact date it opens. I just know that I've had friends who have wanted to come in June, and I always say, don't come in June because it definitely won't be open. No,
that is true. There was just an article the other day that, because of, was it last weekend? The last time it rained, we were getting rain down here, but they were getting snow up high. And so, yeah, they're not. And I just saw today, I think in the Interlake, that the plows just made it to Logan Pass. But an interesting fact for people, they get up to Logan Pass, but then right around the corner, if you've been up there from there, it's called the Big Drift. And it's this long sloping mountain that comes down, and obviously goes over the road. And but it's 80 feet deep right there. And they bring all these dozers and equipment in there to dig that drift out of there. And that's always the last thing that gets obviously plowed out. But it is good news that they've made it to Logan Pass at this point.
Yeah, definitely. I forgot that we got more snow, and we also got snow up on Big Mountain at Whitefish Mountain Resort. I went up to our mountain office the other week, and they had just gotten snow. So I was like walking through the snow to get to the office in like my summer clothes. It was bizarre.
In the middle of June.
Yeah, I melted right away, but it was still kind of disturbing to see.
Yeah.
Lola said, yes, insane prices for sure. These $1 million homes need to be reduced, and realize they missed the boat. Yeah, we're seeing them get reduced slowly but surely, but I think people are still hoping that, they didn't miss the boat.
Yeah, they're waiting for the guy with a pocket full of cash
Yeah.
to show up and pay whatever.
Do you think housing prices will ever go down to a reasonable level such as prior to 2005?
No.
No. We say that they'll go down, but not
Here's
that
the
much.
problem, Dwayne, is that we've been discovered and they quit building new mountain towns, and there's, we're a desirable place to live, the whole state of Montana, because of the TV shows, the movies, whatever. We've been discovered, and yeah, there's a demand here. There's always going to be. Prior to 2005, no, I don't ever see, unless there's some gigantic, ugly worldwide depression. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think that boat sailed a long time ago.
Rocky Mountain Guy asks, what is the average time on the market now?
Interesting you should ask that, because I just looked that up for my video that's coming out tomorrow, and it has gone from 11 days up to 29, and that's just in June. It's probably going to get longer just because we are seeing more places come on the market compared to last year. Like Hillary said earlier, it has slowed down a little bit in June, but we are getting way more places coming on the market compared to last year. And so with that, and with the interest rates and everything else, that's going to make the time on market go up.
Still looking at Bozeman and Belgrade. The prices are still $800K for a typical 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. And
Yep. Same thing over there. Bozeman has been discovered before we were. Bozeman and Big Sky, and they've got the college there. And again, I'm sure those prices, and like I was saying this a long time ago, I don't think the prices even in the next year are going to plummet. I think they're going to come down some, but it's going to be more of a plateau in the grand scheme of things. Yes, they're going to lower from where they are right this minute, but I don't, like Dwayne was asking, they're not going to go way back down to, $200,000 for a 4-bedroom house in Columbia Falls.
Yeah. In Colorado, we're seeing more inventory, price reductions, sellers in denial, financing hard, and cash buyers not jumping in. Yes.
Sounds similar.
Sounds very similar. Dwayne, happy Canada Day on July 1st. Ooh, my comments just got messed up. K-Dub says, today's housing news had the West down something like 14%. They say areas with the most inflated prices are coming down the most.
Yeah, I mean, they're coming down, but they're not, it's not that noticeable. You read the newspapers and they always have to be sensational. And, it's clickbait. We want you to read our article, so we're going to say something crazy in the headline. And I'm not saying that some places haven't come down 14% or more, but it's not. We look at the MLS every day, and it covers all of Western Montana, and our price is coming down, yes, a little bit, but it's not crashing at the moment.
It doesn't feel drastic.
No, it is, it's heading down, which is good news for everybody looking to buy. But again, it's not, unless something crazy happens and the interest rates go double what they are now, which they might. I just think that, it's going to be a reflection of that more than anything. and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I feel like Will know the answer to this. Dwayne asked, are there any interesting historical sites in Montana that you would recommend someone see? There definitely
There's all
are.
kinds of history in Montana. There's Helena has all the mining stuff over there. There's a bunch of ghost towns, Virginia City.
Fort Missoula, they have a not historical, what's the word I'm looking for? Like an old-fashioned 4th of July celebration at Fort Missoula. So that's another thing to do on the 4th.
Over on the east side, you've got the Custer Battlefield, if you're into that. That's kind of cool. Towns. What's that?
Ghost towns.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So, yeah, there's all kinds of...
You're kind of like breaking up.
Oh, I thought you were. I guess it's me.
It's you. Marianne's favorite is Many Glacier. It is awesome. That's where I just camped and saw the grizzly. It's so pretty. It doesn't even seem real. Sarah Anderson said some houses are still going fast. Last week, our neighbor sold their house on their first day on the market. Yeah, unreal.
Yeah, and there's still such a demand from the last 2 years of people that are trying to move here and couldn't find anything, couldn't afford anything, So there's still people out there, and that's why I say it's not gonna. Prices are going down, but because of the demand here, they're probably not gonna go down as fast as they went up. How's that for an analogy?
Lola says, I've heard that there are starting to be layoffs nationwide. Have you seen this in or around the valley?
Are you talking about like in the real estate industry or just in general? We don't
probably just in general.
We don't have tons of huge companies here, and I haven't heard of any around here yet of those places. So, no.
Yeah, I would say no. I haven't heard anything about that. I don't really know the answer to this, but it's a good question. I don't know if you know, Will. Are there any first-time homebuyer programs to check out in Montana? My son moved there last year and is stuck renting.
Yeah, there is, and I can't think of the name of it right now. But if you Google first-time homebuyer in Kalispell, there's a program there that definitely helps out people like your son. So I'm sorry, I'll look that up, and if you want to email me, email us and we'll get you the information. I just don't have it in front of me right now, but there are some good programs, and I've helped people with that in the past. So,
would offering $300K less on $1 million house be an insult to the seller? Have you written an offer that discounted before? And if so, how did it end?
That's going to depend on the seller. And yes, we have written offers like that. And mainly it'll depend on how many days it's been on the market. If it's $1 million house that just came in last week and you offer $700,000, they're going to laugh at you. And they will be kind of insulted. But here again, I talked about this in my video for tomorrow. We're in this weird section of the market now, or say whatever you want to say, where the buyers are watching the news and they're like, hey, your house is not worth $1 million, and it probably is worth 700,000. But then you've got the sellers that are like, well, my neighbor got $2 million for his last year, and this is a great deal. And so we're in this weird area where it's not really a buyer's market yet, and it's definitely not a seller's market anymore. So they're butting heads at the moment. So I guess, like I said, on something like that, look at the days on the market, and go from there, because and who cares if you insult somebody? What usually happens is you write up an offer like that and they laugh at you and don't even respond with a counter offer, and then a month later, and I'm talking more from back when the market, before the market is now, but and then a month or two later you get a call from that agent, hey, is your guy still interested in our house, because we really want to get it sold. So that's what usually happens in those cases.
Do you think Montana's population will increase to the population that places like Alberta, British Columbia, Washington State, and Minnesota have, which is around 4.5 million people?
I'm sure at some point. We, even with all the growth we've had recently in the last couple of years, we're still, barely over 1 million people. So that's gonna be a pretty big growth. And we don't have, this is always going to be high in demand. But until remote work becomes more mainstream, we just don't have any big industries here. The reason Bozeman has grown so much is because they have brought in some tech companies and some bigger companies. But yeah, I'm sure eventually it'll take off like everything else. It's the population in the whole country is growing, so we will grow as well.
Are you seeing a reduction in tourism traffic with the price of diesel and gas? That's a good question.
I don't know about you, Hillary, but I had to go down to Kalispell today, and you could tell that it's summertime. There was a lot of traffic. So I guess my answer to that would be no.
So no. I feel like I can't, it's too soon to tell. I feel like 4th of July weekend will be when I can really judge. Because sometimes I go downtown and I think, oh, it's not that bad. There aren't that many people here. And then the other day I went downtown for an appointment and I drove around and I could not find a parking spot and the parking garage was full and it was like a nightmare. So yeah, I don't think there's been a reduction, but I guess we'll see what happens later this summer.
Yeah.
Will, I didn't know what this was about, but then I saw somebody else mention the Stanley Cups, then I realized it was hockey. But tell us, how did the Avalanche do?
Well, unfortunately, and Dave's going to probably unsubscribe here. I have never seen more calls go for one team throughout the playoffs in my life than Colorado. I do not like the Colorado Avalanche, so I have a biased opinion, but we'll just leave it at that. And if you're from Colorado and you like them, good for you. But looking in from the outside, I was not real happy with that result, but what are you going to do?
There you have it. K-Dub, this is surprising. He said there was a surprising recent survey on most expensive places to live, local cost of living and wages. And number 1 and 2 were Hawaii and Oregon, and number 4 was Montana. That's surprising to me.
Well, they're going off of Bozeman, and
Wow.
They're not. I would guess that if they took the entire state, including the east side, it probably isn't, but they're plucking the Whitefish and Bozeman and Missoula and Hamilton, and they're expensive. So
Crypto Kenny wants to know what the property tax rate is and land tax.
The property tax rate varies with each county, but the average is like 0.8. And there's different, again, I wish I could, like any government agency, they make it so complex and I wish I could just give you a set number, but like everywhere, our government here in Montana has made it where you need a degree from MIT to figure out what your taxes are going to be. But I think if you Google the tax rate, I believe last time I did that, it was like 0.8. So, but you can get discounts if you're a veteran. And again, there's depends where it is. Is it ag land? There's just a million variables. So I'm not going to sit here and even pretend that I can answer that.
Are the costs for building new homes leveling off in the valley?
The price of lumber has definitely gone down, but I would say they're leveling off. Nothing is going up like it used to here. So yes, I would say yes, they are definitely leveling off. But the builders had such a backlog from the last 2 years of people wanting to build that they're still very busy, and there'll be a little bit of a lag on that too, I'm afraid.
Indeed. Which do you think is more appealing to a seller these days, an offer with conventional financing or a VA?
Well, probably, VAs are great loans, and I know that people get scared off of them. And the reason they do is because the house has to be in very good shape. And there's a lot of rules, and their appraisers make it much more difficult to get it through. So if you're a seller, and the conventional loans, usually people are putting down 20%. So it just makes it, show that they have the money to do it. So I don't know. I mean, I don't want to ever say anything bad about VA loans, because veterans should get a great loan. Unfortunately, again, back to the government, they make everything so complicated and difficult that the VA loan should be the best loan out there and the easiest loan and all of that, but unfortunately it's not. So I would say it would be the conventional.
And then I skipped you, RC, but RC said, our son works at Yellowstone Lake as a fishing guide. We've been there a few times looking for land to buy that will allow to park an RV for summer. We're from Alabama, and it's been a hard search. I believe it. We do have a Sotheby's office closer to Yellowstone. So if you ever want to talk to somebody or have someone help you, you can email us and we'll put you in touch with someone.
That is correct.
Do you see many homes with solar or completely off-grid solar? Curious how much sun folks can expect in the Flathead area. I have never seen a home with completely solared out. We actually wanted to put some solar panels on our house and had somebody come out and look, and they told us it was not even worth it because we don't get enough sun. So I think it just depends on where you're located. We have a lot of trees, so that's part of it. And then we also get a lot of overcast days in the winter, so that plays a part too, obviously. But
well, and you don't have enough roof space. That's your problem.
Yeah,
because you wouldn't put them on the north side. You got your house, one side of the roof points north, and you wouldn't point any that way, and then the other side, you don't have a huge house, so that's why they told you to skip it. I've seen all the houses out off the grid up the North Fork, they all have solar. But when I did a video about that a while back, the owners were saying that yes, in December and January, when it's really socked in and cloudy, that they don't, and it's only light here. That's the thing that a lot of people don't realize, that this time of year, speaking of the summer solstice, it stays light here. When we came back from our hike the other day, it was still, we got home at like right before 11 o'clock at night, and it was still light. I mean, not light like it is right now, but like twilight. Like you could still, it was still bright out to the northwest. Um, and I don't think people realize this because we're on the far edge of the mountain time zone, the far western edge. So we could easily be in the Pacific time zone, but because we're, gaining an hour, if you want to say that, it stays light, super late here. Well, then in the winter, you got the opposite. So bringing this back to the solar. So in the December and January, it gets dark at like 4 o'clock, doesn't it? It's
Yes.
crazy.
Yeah.
So you're not going to generate a whole lot of solar here in the winter. So
Joseph wants to know what it's like by Lincoln, Montana, and what it would be like living in that area.
It's a nice area. You're fairly close to Helena. Helena, Great Falls, over there. You can access both of them pretty easily, but it's pretty rural. Not a lot there if you want to be close to the bigger Costco's and Home Depots, you're going to be driving quite a bit. If you go back in my archives, I don't remember when I did it, but I did an article or I did a video on Helena, and I kind of documented the drive over there, and that went right through that area, or near that area where you turn off to go to Lincoln, and you can see it's pretty rural.
DN, do you see any increase in those doing tiny homes on raw land, any tiny home communities, any restrictions on doing that in Montana? We get asked this a lot, and I know that it is popular in a lot of places. I don't know of any specific tiny home communities, but I've seen people talking about it. I saw a builder actually just posted something the other day asking if that was something that people would be interested in the valley, and he got a ton of response and feedback saying that yes, they would be. But so I don't know. I don't know of any specifically, but I know that people are talking about it at least. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see what happens, I think.
Yeah, that's one of those things. Back to the government here, our legislature only meets once every 2 years. We're one of only 4 states that happens in, which is good in some cases, but when they just haven't caught up to these tiny home, the whole tiny home new thing that's going on. And so there's a lot of places that don't allow it just because they don't, they weren't ready for it. It's not written into covenants or into any of the laws. So I'm sure it'll come. Something that we see around here, because we're near Glacier Park, is you'll see guys they're basically tiny homes, but they'll build like 5 little cabins on their lot and then, rent them out for short-term rentals to, for people that are, here to see the park. But as far as full-time tiny home communities, there's really none that I know of yet. But we could definitely use them, that's for sure.
It seems like you can get a lot more house for your money in Helena versus the Missoula and Flathead areas. Why is that?
Do you want to take that one?
I mean, I would just say it's all location. There are so many. I would just say it's because we've grown so much faster. It's just a more in-demand area. We're close to the park. We're bigger cities. There's not as much in Helena. I mean, I don't know.
Helena's all the government stuff. Missoula has the college, obviously, University of Montana, so they're always going to be in demand. And people
we have the ski resort, the park. I don't know.
Yep. But Helena's a great town, and that's a great place to go. We've referred a lot of people over there.
Yeah.
So, because yeah, for exactly that reason, people want a little more for their money, so they'll happily live in Helena, and it's a great little town. Um, I have no issues with Helena at all.
I don't know the answer to this. You might will. Are there construction companies that build ICF insulated concrete form houses, homes?
Yeah,
And
I have seen that. Yes, I have seen that. I don't know which companies in particular, but in my travels around the valley and seeing new construction, I've seen those insulated forms being used. So, yes.
they're around.
Yep.
Kevin's looking to move soon. Would love to visit. You definitely should, Kevin.
Shoot us an email, or did I put one on here with our numbers? Yeah, there. Oops, that's not on a ticker. Anyway, yeah, you can call or email, and we would be happy to chat with you and help you out.
Yeah, if you guys come visit, call us so we can meet you. And then we can tell you where to drive around and look. Summer asks, are many people interested in Eureka? Cute little town. Yeah, people are definitely interested in Eureka. I love Eureka. My fiance just spent all weekend in Eureka and he went on really cool bike rides out there. I like it a lot. It's just a really small town. So it just depends on what you want. You're just kind of out there. Like Will was saying earlier, you're far from a Costco and a Home Depot or Target or whatever. So it just hasn't quite caught up yet, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, and they kind of got hammered with Vrana because the Canadian border is right there. So that a lot of that town was supported by the Canadians coming down. And the Canada side totally shut down the border there for almost 2 years, and it really hurt Eureka. But people were still moving up there and still buying up there. But as far as the town itself, that's the only complaint that we hear, because there's a really, really nice golf course up there, and it's gone out of business before, because there's there's nothing wrong with the course. It's definitely gotten better now. But back, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, they were struggling because of that. You go play golf at this really nice course, and then afterwards you want to go have dinner. Well, there's really nothing. There's not a whole bunch of restaurants there. And so everyone would end up driving all the way back down to Whitefish, and there was no reason to stay there at night. And that, and then they closed the border. But now that everything's getting a little bit back to normal, it's starting to pick up again up there.
What else, guys?
All right, I got a couple here. He was here 2 Sundays ago for the day and he missed us. Well, you should have called.
Dang it.
Yeah, we're always available to meet up at our office and get people pointed in the right direction. But it does look like we're getting to the end here of the questions. RC says, thanks. Hello, Batty.
Batty.
Grew up in Helena.
And loved it. So there you go.
So anyway, that looks to be about the end. We're almost at an hour. Mark, I know Mark. How's the weather like in early November? Mark, that is a crapshoot. That it could be, my wife and I got married on November 14th up in Pullbridge a while ago now, but it was a day like today, a little cooler, but that was as lucky. We got very lucky because it, more than likely the weather's not going to be great, but it can be okay. That's kind of the transition time of the year. So
I feel like there's not usually a lot of snow or any snow, at least in the beginning of November. Yeah, it's kind of up in the air, but.
And no, you have not seen me on Yellowstone.
But you might.
You might, but you probably won't. We'll see.
Well, what videos are coming?
Well, I told you the one tomorrow is going to be about the market. Here's an idea I had the other day when we were up sitting around a campfire in the mountains. I thought it'd be cool if you guys sent us a bunch of questions, and then we could even get my wife involved because she hates to be on camera. But if we did this, she said she'd probably do it. And
yeah, it's like I do it. She has to do it.
Well, the three of us could sit around the campfire with a nice backdrop and answer your questions, and that might be some future videos that we do once a month.
It can be like we're all just hanging out outside in Montana.
Yeah, just drinking beer and enjoying the great outdoors.
Philly Potter, I'm coming from Philadelphia. Next year I'm visiting Wyoming and Montana to see if I like it enough to move there, but from everything I've seen or read, seems like a place I would love. I would definitely, I think you will love it, but we definitely recommend that people visit. And I think it's just helpful for you guys, even if you know that you are going to love it. The Flathead Valley, if this is where you end up wanting to move, there are lots of different areas. So I think it's helpful when people come here and we show them kind of where they should be looking and where to drive. And I don't know, I think it's always a little bit different than you expect. So good to visit first, for sure.
Mark likes our idea. So does Amoeba. So looks like that's what we're going to do.
I hope that would be awesome if we saw a bear.
Yeah, wouldn't that be wild if we were sitting there filming and a bear was behind us and we had no idea until we did the...
I would know. I can just sense when they're near me. Okay, wait, we've gotten this question a couple times and I don't know if we've answered it. What's the current price per square foot?
Well, we haven't answered it because that's a wide open question.
There is no answer.
Well, yeah. There's 10,000 variables, so it depends on the town, the subdivision, it depends on so many things. So I'm not even going to venture to throw out a price. That's why I didn't throw that one up there. But anyway, thank you guys. We are at just about an hour.
Yeah, thanks for coming on Monday.
Yeah, that was nice. We weren't sure if anybody'd show up because we switched days, but thank you for coming. And we will be back in 2 weeks to do this all over again. And if we could find a spot to do this and live stream it from a campfire, that would be good. But I don't know if we could find anywhere with internet that would make that work, but we'll check into that. So anyway, thank you. And we'll see everybody in a couple weeks.